whether it's me with a patient or people in a relationship or a mother-daughter or all these relationships we have, love, which is a commonality, even with our patients, right,
Yes.
is creating a space for the optimal transformation for another human being.
Mm,
And I love that definition because it's giving the space that you truly want what's best for them.
yes.
There's not like this
Yeah.
selfish intention. You're just like, well, how can I help you transform to be your best self? And in that kind of a altruistic way, it could be, bosses or children or parents or employees or whatever. It works to all of them.
Yes.
But in that space, transformation happens.
What if aging isn't about slowing down, but leveling up? I'm Dr. Isaac Jones. This is the Longevity Leaders Podcast.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ashley Beckman here with the Longevity Leaders Podcast, and I have Dr. Jill Carnahan joining us today. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. I always love the energy and excitement of conferences.
Yes, it's always wonderful to be with people who have similar outlooks and who are looking to learn and just help other people get better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have a new book out.
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
So interestingly, I wanted to write about immune resilience and resilience in life. And
Yes.
what ended up happening is it's basically a memoir, but it covers stories of patients and myself. I overcame cancer at 25 years old.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
Crohn's disease and mold-related illness, which I
Yep.
know we share the topic.
Yes.
So I go through giving the backdrop of my story, but really going deep on each topic and giving people just practical information on how to overcome chronic inflammatory illness and mold-related illness and inflammatory bowel disease and all of those things.
And I love resilience is one of my favorite words, right? Because I think most of our patients and clients do not feel resilient, right? They're stuck in fight or flight. They have chronic illness. And the last thing they feel is resilient or strong. And that's so important. You're focusing on that.
Yeah, I love it because even when I wrote the book, resilience, I've really come to know as this definition of how do you bounce back after adversity, right?
Yes.
Like we all have suffering, we all have difficulties. Probably now more than ever, there's chaos. And so it's like, how do we take that? And in the realm of health and healing, it's like, how do you take a chronic illness like I had cancer and then Crohn's disease and then mold related illness and not just bounce back to your same original shape, but the new definition, I call it resilience 2.0, is really how do we have this anti-fragility mindset where we bounce back better than before?
Yes.
And I feel like I'm living proof of like, how do we do that? Right.
Yeah.
And I'm always seeking ways to optimize and perform. And I'm definitely healthier now in my 40s than I was in my 20s, which is crazy.
Yep. And I think too, as we both see, the mindset is such a huge piece.
It is.
And if people are always talking about, oh, I have this or I have this diagnosis, and they're always looking for more diagnosis. So creating that framework that's all positive and kind of the trajectory of the way you actually are, but recreating that so that we can live that way is so important because there's so many people that are stuck in, my Lyme, my XYZ. And they're just keeping that ownership, and that's not what we want, right?
Exactly.
We need it to be let go and
The
become resilient.
identity is so crucial. I remember having a patient with lupus that on her license plate was lupus. I'm like, sweetheart, you're never going to get well.
Yes.
Because you're so identified with that.
Yep.
And even now I think about my cancer, I can tell the story, but someone be like, oh yeah, I did have cancer. There's like this, I'm not attached to it. And I don't even like the word cancer survivor.
Right.
Because it's like this thing of like who I am. And I think that identity, I mean, sometimes I'll ask patients, they're like, what is your illness doing for you?
Exactly.
And they just stop and look at me and like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Because always there's something psychologically or otherwise, right? So when we go down to those roots, and I feel like I've been doing functional medicine for over 20 years, but what now is more powerful than the old, just supplements, nutrition, diet, lifestyle is going to those deep roots of identity and trauma and how do we see the world and how do we live in the world and our mindset.
Yeah.
Those are probably more powerful than all the other.
A big one too is on social media, right? A lot of people's Instagram handle has their disease in it.
Yes, exactly.
And I was like, you have to change that. Or, I would suggest changing that if and when, your healing journey, we want you to be well. So what are some of the top things that you have been speaking about or talking about that help people become more resilient?
Yeah. So one of my favorite topics is environmental toxic load, right? And we share that. And obviously with my own journey through mold related illness, it is so much a hidden thing for many people.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are in Southern Florida, and it's like my friend lives here, and she was saying, Jill, I think every house in our neighborhood has mold.
Yeah.
It's so common.
Yeah.
And so people don't realize it, and they start to have autoimmune disease or dysfunction or cognitive difficulties, and like, I don't know what's wrong. So that environment is so crucial. And unfortunately, clean air, clean water, clean food is kind of the starting point, but people don't even realize that they're swimming in toxic soup. So I get really excited bringing awareness to that topic, but then also bringing solutions. Like, what can we do about this? Because I think when we talk about environmental toxicity, it could be pretty depressing.
It is.
Because PFAS and mold and plastics and parabens and, all these things, metals, and then wildfires, and then there's smoke, and then so we have this huge load. And I think the U.S. sometimes is worse than a lot of other countries.
Oh, for sure.
But with that, then if I can bring someone the tools to be practical and actually kind of affordable, because you can get a really good water filter for your fridge for $30, and it's not the best of the line, but it's good enough.
Yes.
Or air filtration or, opening windows and some basic stuff that people have access to.
Yep.
So, and you can just see the audience kind of light up when they see, oh, wait, I can do that. Right.
Yes.
I feel like they have the agency.
Because otherwise it's overwhelming. Since we've been doing it for 20 plus years, but all my patients are always like, well, what's wrong with that now? Or something. It's like, I feel bad you're ruining their life and they're taking away their prized, whatever it might be.
Their
air
takeout
fryer,
containers.
or,
Exactly. Air
anything,
fryer, for sure.
everything. And they think they're doing something positive and helpful. And unfortunately, we know a little too much. And everything is kind of often a little bit of a burden.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah. So it is very important to make it easy and doable. And then again, not so expensive that it's just out of everyone's reach.
Exactly.
Do you have certain things besides those foundations, right? The clean air, water, food. What about on the kind of either mindset or nervous system side do you work on or talk about in your book?
Yeah, a lot. Because it goes from, the cancer, then the Crohn's, and the mold. But then in the last part of the book is all about, I went through a divorce that was kind of sudden after 20 years. And what happened in that was, I always say that, like, whether it's me with a patient or people in a relationship or a mother-daughter or all these relationships we have, love, which is a commonality, even with our patients, right?
Yes.
Is creating a space for the optimal transformation for another human being. And I love that definition because it's giving the space that you truly want what's best for them.
Yes.
There's not like this selfish intention. You're just like, well, how can I help you transform to be your best self?
Yep.
And in that kind of an altruistic way, it could be, bosses or children or parents or employees or whatever. It works to all of them.
Yes.
But in that space, transformation happens. And I think that for me, it happened through a sudden divorce that I wasn't expecting. But looking back, it was the best thing that ever happened.
Looking for the gift and everything.
Because I had to go deep and like, who am I and what am I, doing and all that. And then in that transformation process, I learned a lot. And I did a lot of healing. And I think some of the healing around identity. And for me, it was like, do I trust myself? Can I trust my intuition? Do I love myself?
Yeah.
Do I take care of myself? Do I set boundaries and all those things around that? But in that, I felt like some of the most profound healing happened way more than all the protocols for mold or all the protocols for, even now, I feel like talk about resilience. Like I can go into a moldy hotel and I don't love it. I can tell I get a little congested, but I'm okay.
Right.
And there's no longer a trauma response to that.
Yeah.
And to me, that's another way to think about resilience is how do we teach patients to own that resilience and actually practice it in a way that transforms their life, no matter if it's a financial calamity or a health crisis or divorce or whatever.
Yeah. And it's really, really the central thing, right? There's a beautiful book about that. And it's basically like you have to learn to love yourself and your cells, and that will transform everything. And it's really the center of all healing.
Yeah, it is.
And even though we love all the toxins and are so fascinated by it, you have to make sure that you're really addressing that, but also the emotional side of everything. And again, that everything that comes into our life is here to teach us and as a gift, and find that so that you can grow from it.
Exactly. It's like reframing.
Yes. Reframing.
What is the gift here?
Yes.
And then,
And so you worked on a lot with mold as well, right?
Yes.
And one thing I think that is interesting to people is they're usually not aware that they have it. right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I think people or they downplay it,
Yes.
right? Like, oh, but everyone's house
Everyone's
has some
mold,
mold.
yeah.
It's everywhere. And are you still seeing a lot of clients for mold toxicity? Yes. Okay.
It's increasing, unfortunately. I think a couple
Yeah.
of things. I think building materials and how things are being built are poorly constructed or left out in the,
Yes.
elements. And
Yes.
so more likely they're getting moisture actually put into their walls without them even knowing it.
Yeah. And even the brand new builds.
Yeah, exactly. Sadly,
Yeah.
many times the brand new builds. And then I think radiation Wi-Fi. Actually, there was a study with two petri dishes of mold, and one of them under the router, house of router, produced 600 times the mycotoxins. So because of that, you see that there is this effect that this living organism can sense. And so as we have more and more inputs in the environment, I think that even solar panels, which great because it's amazing, but the electromagnetic radiation that you create when you put solar panels can actually make a home that may have had a little mold problem way worse. And you know how many places. So that's how catch-22. I'm all about efficiency.
Yeah.
But then if someone has mold in their home, they probably have to think about how does that work. So there's a lot of things playing into that. And then our natural disasters and hurricanes and storms and water intrusions. And so to your point about people not really knowing, I think many people just start to go downhill, or they might see, one of my questions is always like, do you remember when you last felt well? And tracking back to that and then say, well, what happened since then? And it might be a move or it might be something changed or whatever. And then as we ask the questions, really it's most of the time I will test to confirm, which is like urinary mycotoxins, Sears Labs and the blood work, or the home testing, like a dust sample. However, history is so good because if you're really asking those questions, you can kind of make a timeline and figure out when they felt well and then when they didn't. And then, oh, there was a move, right? And then your dog got sick and your cat got sick and your son got sick. And you're like, okay, well, it's environment, right? Process of elimination.
Yeah. And it's tricky because a lot of the times too, I think a lot of us maybe had a childhood home with mold and you were maybe okay, but had maybe headaches or something. And then the next home in college and then schools and gyms. It's
absolutely. At some
it's
point you tip over this.
Yeah.
I say that's the bucket analogy, right? Of the toxic load, and you hit this capacity and the water spills over the top. And the three things that most commonly present are neurodegenerative disease, autoimmunity, and cancer.
Yes.
So,
it's very serious, right? I think we have that delicate balance of reiterating to patients and clients that they have the capability to heal.
Yeah.
And yet this is something you really need to work on and focus on because it
deal.
will, snowball into some bigger issues.
Right.
So you have your book. Is it out and available?
Yeah, this is available on Amazon, anywhere books are sold. So you want a signed copy, you can go to drjillhealth.com. But otherwise, anywhere books are sold.
And anything else you'd like to share with us?
The reason I wrote this was to give hope. And I think the thing I love to end on always is like, no matter where you are, whether you're a practitioner dealing with very complex patients and overwhelmed, or whether you're a patient that's dealing with something that's unexplainable or mysterious, there's always hope.
Yeah.
And that's why I always love getting out in the world, just sharing that message that healing is possible.
Agreed. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's such a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I look forward to reading your book. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Longevity Leaders podcast. Our Longevity Leaders community is on mission to transform 100 million lives by 2040. If you enjoyed this show, please share this with somebody that you know, especially another doctor or physician, but also click that follow button. Until next time, stay strong and live long.